Mrs. President, for the record, the borough manager sets the agenda. If you'd like to have something put on the agenda, you can always notify me. You have not notified me. There is a set agenda for the council meeting that has been distributed.
For you, Mrs. Brown, you are an employee. I am your boss, and I set my agenda. And if there is something you would like on the agenda, you can contact me.
That's not
Now, my presidential report, okay? I have been on council for almost 3 years. And the most that I have seen is a bunch of negativity. Oh, I forgot this music. How is Colwyn ever to move forward if all we can come to the table with is negativity? The day that the people stop targeting people and make this about the taxpayers of Colwyn, we will move forward. Every time someone says something that someone doesn't like, then they bring residents to the meeting to start to slander people, and even if they don't even have the correct information. Don't come here to embarrass people. Come here with a solution. The entire borough is being made a disgrace of. There is no other community that airs all their dirty laundry other than Colwyn. I take pride where I live. This is one of the reasons that I became a council person, to try and make a difference in the community. Several council people are only on council to benefit themselves. Taxpayers, just look around and you can see for yourself who is really here to move Colwyn forward. Most of the people that are representing you are only here for their own financial gain. You should come into the borough and ask questions. Ask why council people are exempt from following the rules. The residents have to abide by the law. Why not council? Ask why we pay employees and they are not working the hours they are getting paid for. This is your tax dollars. My suggestion would be, if you are not trying to move this borough forward, you should think about resigning. And that is my report.
Madam President, can I be recognized?
Yes, you can.
I'd like to make a motion to have poem users step in as council president.
This is a committee meeting and a committee meeting only.
Second motion.
It is not on the agenda.
Publicly advertised meeting. You can. It's a publicly
Motion on the
advertised,
floor.
motion on the
Second.
floor, and there's a
And
second.
I'm not accepting your motion.
Call a roll call vote. He seconded it.
Excuse me, can I?
The next meeting is.
There's a motion
on the
and a
agenda
second
is
on the
finance
floor.
report.
There is a
Mr. Ledger,
motion
you have a
and a
report.
second on the floor.
Thank you.
Mrs. Williams, there's a motion and a second on the floor.
Mr. Lesher, can we have your report, please?
You cannot ignore a motion and a second on the floor. The council meeting was scheduled for 7.
Mrs. Brown,
August.
you are the borough manager. Tonight, you are the borough secretary. Mr. Lesher.
Mrs. Williams.
You have a report.
Motion on the floor in a second. Let's
I'd
have a
like
roll
the
call
motion
vote.
to table.
There's a roll call
Motion on the
vote.
floor.
Mr. Brundage.
Yes.
Mr. Muser.
Yes.
No, you
Mr.
can't
Lesher.
call the vote. You can't call
She's
the
not
vote.
calling the vote.
It is my job to call the vote.
Call the vote.
Yes,
caller.
I can.
No,
It is
you
my
can't.
job.
You can. Only the
It
president
is
can
my
call
job.
to vote.
The president of council does
You
not
are in-
call the roll.
Yes, you
The
are.
president of council does not call the vote.
Mr. Lesher, we
Borough
are waiting
manager
for
and the
your
borough secretary
report.
does.
No, it doesn't.
There's a motion and a second on the floor at a publicly advertised
Who are
meeting.
you in this
If you
meeting?
do not recognize it,
We're
you
not
are
recognized.
violating the
We're not.
sunshine law.
Mr. Lesher.
Are we at a committee meeting? We're at a
Yes,
committee
we're at-
Are you having a council meeting after the committee
Yes,
meeting?
you can bring it up then. You can bring it up after the council, after the committee meeting.
There's no motion on the floor in the committee meeting.
There is
You
a
can bring it
motion.
up after the, you can bring it up at the council meeting.
Okay, I have a committee report, okay, and the balance of accounts is Sharon Bank. The tax account, the balance is $241,493.63. The general fund, there's $124,991.46. In the payroll account, Okay, there's $119,597.18. That's the payroll account for both the police and the borough employees. And the list account is $1,898.06. The police account, there's $700.94. The sewer fund, there's $2,933.01. And the liquid fuels, there's $591.76. And the fire escrow account, there's $8,234.85 account. Total of $498,592.83. Okay, in the collegiate accounts, Pennsylvania local government investment balance on collegiate account. The general fund, there's $909.97. The sewer fund, there is $1,003.22. Fire taxes, $18.91. Highway aid, okay, is $59,167.37. Zoning hearing board, $20.64. Fire relief account, $10.80. And escrow account is $10.80. And escrow driveway account, $45.93. This is come to a total of $61,175.84. And we're on the 2000 audit that was just completed, and the prior audit has many adjusted entries that may be entered in order to properly conduct a 2012 audit. These entries were not recorded. The total amount of unrecorded entries is $607,000. $225.41. These entries are in the process of being recorded for the 2012 audit commenced. Now the 2012 audit. The entries for the 2012 audit are massive. 24 bank accounts have been updated.
Not been updated.
Not been updated. I'm sorry. Most of the transactions within 24 bank accounts have been entered just for 2012, which the entries are complete for the 2012 audit will begin. And I actually did talk to the auditor. I was going to talk to him again. I talked to him about two weeks ago, and he did say that we're entering things every day. But, we still have to do 13 and 12. These audits should have been done back then, so the taxpayers now are paying for things that should have been paid in 2010, 2012, which is the audits. They weren't paid for because they weren't done. So the burden, the money was never left there. We didn't do the audit, and the money's here. But, that's basically where we're at, and the 2012 audit will begin. This will take a few weeks to correct. Now the police and liquid fuels, these are bills. $4,100 for the police. The liquid fuels, the $81,000, $807. Now, is that? I'm trying to think that that is money that we owe the state from previous years.
That's correct. The 2010-2012 liquid fuel audit indicated that $81,000 was misspent and misappropriated, so we now have to pay that back into the fund.
Now, we can't correct then? Because I know that the money, we did have a highway department.
Liquid fuels is the money that you get from the state to repair your streets. And in 2010, 11, and 12, the money was not spent to repair streets correctly.
I have a question.
It was misspent and misappropriated, which is what the audit indicated.
I have a
So therefore, in order for us to receive our funding, and the state was very generous with us, they did grant us, because I have been working with them on a continual basis, they did issue us the liquid fuels monies for this year.
Can I ask
However,
a
we
question?
still have to take $81,000 and pay that back because it was not spent correctly.
Freddie, our audits was done and I sat in on it. And I don't know where we owe $81,000. I've asked to see the, I'm asking you a question. I have asked to see the actual audit because we are not behind $80,000 and we come to this table. It's just like Madam President said, we come to this table and we start throwing things out. You were given a report, but have you actually seen any of the bank statements?
I did.
The report
I
is given.
I did see a
Mrs.
letter.
Brown,
I
you're
did-
not recognized to be spoken to, okay?
I did see a letter from the Commonwealth that said that we had to pay $81,000
Then
back to
I
them. I
need
did
to
see
know,
that.
I need to know why, because the audit was just done. And he did not come back and do the exit. You can come to this table and throw all of this stuff out. But like I said, government don't start because y'all came in. Government was working before you got here. And to sit here and to throw out,
government-
excuse me,
Go ahead,
excuse
go
me,
ahead.
sit here to throw out that it was misappropriated and misused is a slander.
Here's what I
Madam
know about
President.
the liquid fuel money.
Y'all spent the $31,000 in February for payroll, because you stated that at a meeting.
Madam President,
We put money, we
First of all, let me stop this
Oh.
right now, because in between the finance, the public can ask a question, okay?
I like-
So we need to recognize the public if you are finished your report.
Can I ask one question of the
After the
engineer?
public.
Of the engineer, because.
No, this is a finance.
I know, but the finance for the liquid fuels come from the engineer.
he wasn't here then in 2010.
Excuse me, I would like to ask the engineer a question.
Ms. Pray, let me butt in for a minute
Sure.
before you ask him any questions, okay? As of this moment, I am the president of Colwyn, okay? You need to be recognized to speak. If you're not recognized, do not speak. Thank you. Give me the same respect I'm giving everyone else.
Madam President, may I be recognized to speak?
Mrs. Pray is talking.
Definition of items, can you tell me what the definition of items in the liquid fuels?
I won't be able to actually tell you the
Talking to the
definition.
mic, please, so they can hear.
I won't be able,
Is it one?
It should be on.
testing hello?
Yeah, it's on.
I won't be able to actually give you a definition of the liquid fuels line items, but it would be of interest to know that about a year ago, a lot of the municipalities in Delaware County, they had a special meeting with PennDOT's representatives because what is considered funds that are allowable for use with liquid fuels has been under some confusion by a lot of the municipalities, and what was happening is a lot of municipalities over the last few years were accidentally spending money for what they thought was an appropriate use of that funds, and then they were getting audited by PennDOT and finding out that they were accidentally using money that they thought was, and maybe it was, I wasn't sure exactly the whole history, but maybe it was like 5 years ago, something that was allowable. PennDOT might have changed some of the definitions and rules, and municipalities weren't aware of it. They were still spending items that they thought were consistent with in the past, and then it turned out that they were having to, they were in a similar situation where they were trying to return funds that was now considered misappropriate, but not misappropriated from an intentional standpoint, but just a misunderstanding of what PennDOT defines as an allowable use. So That's the only thing I thought I'd.
Mr. Lesher, are you finished your finance report?
Madam President, can I be recognized to speak on that subject?
Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay. The audit is public record. Each council member received a copy of the audit and a copy of a letter from Eugene Pasquale, the Auditor General. And some items were spent on, it was engineering fees that was audited, and the engineering fees were not spent appropriately, and there was $23,000 that was listed as miscellaneous, and no one had any idea where the $23,000 came from or went. That is why we have to pay it back.
Actually, I would suggest that our
Mrs.
engineer look at it.
Brady was not asked to
I'm
be
sorry.
recognized.
Ma'am.
Mr. Lesher, are you done with your finance report?
I'm not done with my finance report because I looked at some of the bills from, and I know we do have a lawsuit for NDI, and I seen the bills for this Audit construction management, so I was able to get a couple copies of the Commonwealth Code Enforcement and this Audit construction management with Toned Prey was talking to, and I'm really very, very upset that I'm looking at this and the amount of money that this contract, okay, and maybe Martha can talk about it, maybe Tonette can talk about it that I wasn't here, that this contract added up to and was paid, okay, you're looking at a man that made $120,000 in this town, and this contract, no way, couldn't add up to $120,000.
It didn't add up to $120,000.
Well, that's what he received.
No, that's not what he received, Freddie, and I'm going to tell you.
Okay, May, then you can tell me. You can
Well,
show me
Freddie,
what he
if you
received.
look- no, I can't show you because I've been locked out of it. You don't even see it.
You should have a copy
Freddie,
of all that
I'm not
stuff.
going to argue with you. You asked me a question, so
Sure.
I'm going to answer it.
Go ahead.
Okay, that was a third-party biller, okay? There was, which we don't have now, is a property maintenance. And if you look in there, it was, just wait a
Go
minute,
ahead.
Freddie. Because if you look in there, they were not only just for property maintenance, they were our building code inspector. They were our zoning officer. And you're right, you weren't involved in this before you ran. We
Well, I knew what the guy was being overpaid, and he was shaking. He was shaking property owners down. Shake down. And the reason he was being shaken